Hey everybody, this is Erman Barati with another webinar. We are in a unique circumstance the last few weeks, even months now, I would say. And so a lot of our events have gone to the web. So that's why we're able to have folks from around the world. Today we have folks from LA, Chicago, Montreal, even. So this is a good way for us to network while we're distant. So just because we're quarantined doesn't mean we can't continue networking and being inspired by other folks and connecting, right? Today we have someone who's very awesome because I've known her for about a few years, and she's done several events of mine in the past, and we've been supportive of each other and our endeavors the last few years. Tal Weinstein, everybody. She's clapping for herself. I love it.
I know.
She's being so responsive to her own introduction. But a bit of Tal's background. Tal was a dancer for a few years. Went to London for 7 years. Came back. She pursued an entertainment career. She was an assistant at LA Talent, which is an agency, before moving on to UTA, United Talent Agency, which is one of the big four agencies in the industry. From there, she went on to start Taller Management with her friend Erin, which is a management company for musicians and other types of creatives. But right now, she has 5 clients in music. So Tal, if we can just dive in a little bit to your background, because folks are meeting you for the first time. So if you can just dive a little bit into your background and talk about your history in the industry.
Sure. So, kind of coming on or adding on to what Erman was saying, I am from LA, born and raised. Woo woo, if there are other unicorns in the crowd. I was here until I was always majoring in the arts. And when it came to college, I got accepted into school in London. And I studied dance there for 3 years, got my bachelor's. And then that turned into my master's. I did that for a year up in Leeds. And then I danced professionally for a year. So I know, the challenges of like what it's like to be a struggling artist. It was a lot of fun. But after auditioning like for 4 months, I decided to pursue a career in production and producing. And, doors kind of just like flung wide open when I decided to make the change. And it was a lot of fun. And I think I found, I will not think, but I really did find what I was meant to be doing with my time on Earth, not to sound all cheesy, but I really found a passion for working with artists and creatives and kind of helping their vision come to life. So I was freelancing. I was working as a tour manager for a critically acclaimed theater show. I was touring with them for 3 years, and the tour manager has many hats. Sometimes they were asking me to be a production manager. Sometimes I was assisting the producer, and we were tour booking shows. And from that, I started getting offers to produce a lot of other dance shows, as well as theater. And that kind of was like a 4-year journey in London, which was really exciting. I learned a lot. I tour managed. Not only did I do that, but I raised money. I applied for grants and sponsorships and talked to donors and tour booked, and kind of like just whatever needed to be done, I kind of just got it done, with of course a team. And sometimes it was just me and the choreographer working together. Was a lot of fun. And coming back here, I wanted to be close to family and decided to come back home. And the Brits got too cold for me, so I was like needed to kind of be back in the sunny LA, hence why I'm sitting outside. And I found myself in an agency doing commercials. Best thing that ever happened to me. Greatest boss ever, Ashley Partington. She came from Abrams. She took me on. She fired everyone in the company in the commercial department and started everything from scratch. And it was just her and I working with 350 clients. And she kicked my ass and told me everything there was to know about being a commercial agent. And we opened a theatrical department, and then I left because I got an offer from UTA to kind of go be an assistant there. And I was like, wow, shiny new toy of like the big four asking me to come in. I decided to leave commercials and went into the music department, just because I missed the touring aspects and booking of shows. And I was there for about 9 months until I decided to leave. And I met my business partner, Erin. She's still there in the music department. And we decided to do our own thing. And it's been 3 months. It's been an amazing journey. We have 5 clients, as Erman said. And I'm like every day, I've done a lot, but I'm still learning, and and I'm excited to learn, like I get super bored of just like being at a specific, at one specific job. And I felt like tour booking and an agency is like, all we're doing is booking clients on shows. So it was really great kind of like now managing, you're dealing with so much, like my client needs a sponsor, my client is like tour booking for a show, or we need to find tour support or sync deals. And it's all been really fun. It's been like 3 months, as I said, or 4, I can't even remember. And it's been great.
And what I
Long-winded
really like about,
question.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. What I really like about your history is that you not only were you talent as a dancer, you worked in the
Hmm.
agency world. Now you work in the management world. So obviously, at each step, you learn something that you take to the next level. So for you,
Yeah.
what did you take along the way that helps you as a manager?
Yeah, I think it's like dabbling. Well, first of all, it's like the relating to artists. Like I definitely, as an artist myself, like, and I still consider myself as an artist and a creative, and like I can totally understand like what it's like for someone to be vulnerable and put their art forward. And like I can feel their passion and what they want to do, and I can kind of navigate how to bring their vision to life. And that's kind of, yeah, it's from the artist side. I feel like I can be relatable, but it's also like I look at a lot of things as like production, like we're producing something, whether it's like a marketing strategy for a new single release, or we need to find tour support. So then it's like me tuning, like honing in on the connections that I've made in the agency world, and reaching out to the people that are friends, and you know asking if they actually do need someone to open for the Aces, or anyone else. But I think overall, like it's just like I it's funny, like, because I was like so avoiding the fact of opening something of my own. I thought I needed more time. um but it kind of just all worked out organically. Like I think that each step that I was in my life and in my career, like I learned something new, and I learned what it's like to be a good boss, and what's the difference between a great boss and a horrible boss. And yeah, it's true. Yeah, and how to be a leader, and how to give to for all, collaboration, and to for us to work together rather than being selfish. And I think it's a lot about helping one another in this industry. And I think, and I learned that from a lot of my great bosses, and learned what it's like to what I didn't want to be. So I think it's kind of like a big question, but I think that overall, like each step in my life, took something from it, and I am who I am, and my business will be what it is because of the steps that I took, and
Absolutely,
what I've learned,
absolutely,
throughout.
yeah, absolutely. And now that you're calling the shots
Hmm.
as someone who co-founded this company, um, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask this question or are wondering this if they're musicians. So what do you personally look for in clients? Considering you're growing in the business as well, what do you look for
Hmm.
in blossoming musicians and other types of artists?
Yeah. Um, I So, okay, yes. I was gonna go off on my own tangent as per usual, but no, like I'm gonna stick to the question.
Feel
Um,
free to say whatever you want, by the way.
I know, I know, I know. But I mean, look, like I need to love the music. I also look at, when we are in a normal day life, like, and I go see a show, like I look for stage presence, I look for, you know, someone with potential, someone, even if it's not, their sound isn't there yet, I always like think ahead and maybe like putting them together with a different producer and seeing if that inspires me. I think I'm a very passionate person, and I want to work with other people who are passionate about, you know, their music and their love, and like they can't do anything else, and of course they're finding ways to make money on like a day-to-day job, but like this is their end goal. And I, you know, and I need to like their music for me to be relatable. Sometimes it's like political in the sense of like, you know, maybe I have another person that sounds like them on their artist, so like therefore I won't have that much attention to give to them, you know what I mean? So then I
Right.
won't take them on. I make sure that I have enough time for someone, and also that I'm very passionate about, you know, them. Social following on Instagram, that's really important nowadays. You know, a lot of people, now especially, just because like, you know, you're doing live streams, I'm doing live streams, we were looking for is people with a following, you know. And I am very much like happy to help someone grow, but as I'm realizing now, and like I have an artist who's like his socials are really low, and he just doesn't have a passion for it to like help and pursue that and to grow that. And it's been fucking difficult. I'm like, I rather have someone in like kind of even the beginning stages, but have their fan base going rather than really digging from the ground up. Like I need a team collaboration rather than, you know,
Absolutely.
um yeah, rather than just like, you know, me doing all the work. Like I need, that it was the same with like, you know, when I was in London and producing, like I never started off with someone who was super baby. Like you need to know what it's like for someone to hustle for you. Like if you need to know what a manager does first and foremost, so you need to do it by yourself before someone can come in and give you all their connections. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. It's like kind of how that
That's
have yeah, you want
sorry.
you want your artist to have the basics first, or to know the basics first before they even approach. Yeah.
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 Absolutely. Because like sometimes I'm like I'm working with like artists that are super baby, and I'm like, oh, here's a pub deal, and they're like, oh, great, but I don't really want it. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want it? Like, I just like, you know, busted my ass for you for this, but whatever. It's
Yeah.
the joys.
I understand. We
um,
have some questions coming already, so I'm just gonna go ahead and jump to the Q&A part.
okay.
Anastasia, can you hear us? Can you hear? Okay, cool. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Awesome. Hi, Anastasia. I'm
Hi.
sorry, Anastasia. I said it wrong. Anastasia.
Yes. Oh, perfect. My question was, what types of clients do you work with? I mean, do you have a specific genre of music? Do you do
Hmm.
solo artists versus bands? Do you work with people who are just like a certain aspect of the genre of musicians, are like lyricists or versus composers? Do you partner share? I'm just curious what type of client grouping you're working
Yeah.
with.
At the moment, I have 5 artists, ranging from pop and R&B all the way to like indie folk, psychedelic rock. And I don't really like Erman was saying before, like I don't really have a method of picking it. I just like, you know, I like to work what I like to work with, right? And as the company expands, then I'll hire managers that want to work with what they want to work with. I don't need to love it, you know. I just want, you know, people to be passionate about what they're working on. Composers and songwriters, yes. I'm hoping that that will come as well with time. And like I'd love to build partnerships with other people about, you know, maybe it works that like we buy them out, or maybe it's just like a cross collaboration of just all using together, you know, like there's different ways that I'd love to find collaboration and collaborate with others. And I'm really open. Like someone asks me, you know, what's your favorite type of genre, and I'm just like, honestly, I don't really have one. And I know that sounds like a dumb, like it's like a generic question, but like honestly, like I love German rap to all the way to like classical. It doesn't it I just hear something, I'm like, oh my god, yes, this is what I need to hear all the time. And I grew up like, my family is Israeli, so it's like very Middle Eastern, like speaks to me, and like the drums, the darbuka, and like my grandpa plays the clarinet, so classical music, and also obviously Frank Sinatra, like, you know, just ranges from everything. And like very eclectic Indian music. We grew up watching Bollywood films, like, yeah, so I'm like very just passionate about just music, like world music in general.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. Always good to see you, by the way, on our chats. Up next, we're going to have Cleo, followed by Michael. So, Cleo, you're on.
Hey, my name is Jackie. My artist name is Mama Cleo.
Gotcha. So sorry about that. Sorry.
No worries. It's confusing. Yeah, I have a question because I guess that the most confusing part about this whole management thing to me is at what point do you think someone is like ready or ripe to have a manager come in? Is there like a good time in your opinion, or does it sort of just matter, you know, how you kind of connect to them in multiple ways?
I don't think that there's a process. Some people are lucky enough, you know, to start doing their thing, and then, you know, you see like now friends starting to manage like friends, you know, and like kind of being like, oh, well, you've just booked your first show, so let me manage you and let me try to like handle shit for you on the road. Or maybe you're not going on the road, maybe it's a one-off show, so let me negotiate like a good deal for you with the promoter. I think it all just depends on, you know, the relationship, and maybe like I don't think there's any harm like saying to someone, hey, like I'm looking for management, and seeing what they say, you know, like maybe they're like, come back to me like when you book your first show, come back to me when you release like an EP, you know, or maybe they want to be in the process of helping you kind of release everything. It all really depends on, you know, what the person wants to do. I'll give you from an agent standpoint, like an agent really wants to see that you've done everything yourself before they take you on. But like, you know, that's not the same as a manager. I think that for me, like I would just kind of scout it out. I'm very open always to taking meetings, taking phone calls. Maybe it just turns into like a nice friendly chat, and like we get to know each other, and you know, you never know down the line like what someone else can bring you. And you know, I think it's great connecting with others, and you never know, like maybe like in 2 years time, like I'll be like, hey, like, oh my god, she would be perfect for this. Or maybe it's going to be like in a month's time, like you never know. I think it's just taking a leap of faith and being like, yo, like, what do you think? I do this all the time, and I'm super like, and like the company that like Erin and I started super new, you know, and I'm fucking taking leaps. And
I think you muted yourself. Sorry.
Hey,
I don't even know why I mute myself. I don't even know why I mute myself. Did you just see my hand motions of like? That's great.
It was right when you got extra like into it.
I told you, I'm a very passionate person, I swear. But I think that like I think it's about like connecting, and honestly just taking a leap of faith, basically, with my mumbo jumbo saying over here.
Thank you. No, that was perfect. Thanks.
Great. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. You said Jasmine, right?
Jackie,
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Jackie, aka Mama Cleo. Everyone look her up on Instagram and Mama Cleo Music. Isn't that correct?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna totally tune in. By the way, Mama Cleo Music. I'm going after we finish this.
I am Mama Cleo on Instagram.
Oh, I am. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cool.
Thank you so much for that. Up next, we have Michael, followed by Chris K. So, Michael, you're on deck.
Hi, Chris. So you remind me of that soldier that came in as a raw recruit and worked your way up to captain. I mean, you've been through all the battles and the trenches. You didn't go to officer school. You didn't take a direct commission. You fought your way up through what to me is almost a horrific industry. I say that as one who attempted to be a musician. I was very delusional during the 70s. My mind was very altered, in altered states. But I actually have a music endorsement and music education. But I know the music business can be downright vicious. And from what I see, it seems like the musicians union gives almost no support to artists. I mean, if you sign a bad contract, hey, you should have read it, buddy. As
Yeah.
opposed to TV and film, you know, I go work background on a TV show, that check is there. They say your check's in the mail, it's there. And they give us
Yeah.
an incredible lunch. My question is, do you think a stronger musicians union will make your job easier? Because you constantly hear about musicians having to sue each other, sue the record companies, sue their band,
Yeah.
constantly in court. Whereas I don't hear about the same thing on the acting side. It's like, you did the job, here's your money, boom, come back again. So do you think a stronger musicians union will make your job easier for you?
I mean, there's always going to be that chance that, we're going to have a lawsuit, right? And, I'm very, that concerns me 100%. And I have to trust the fact that, my lawyer on my side did a great job. And that's why I make sure to read, not only like come with corrections, like I read through I read through the contract. However, I make sure that the lawyer reads through it, and then I come back and read it. And like, I know it's super anal, but I think that that's to avoid any complications. But unfortunately, like, there's always one thing that you miss. Yeah, musician union would be great. I'm not sure, I'm only one woman, and hopefully I can do that for you one day. But I think that's that. I think the reality is, and I might not be 100% right when I say this, and it might be a little bit of a downer, but like, honestly, everyone's suing each other for everything these days. And you're absolutely right when you say that we don't have the same problems in like SAG and equity, and
Yeah.
they're there for support. Absolutely. But I mean, if that's down to the core, I think you're absolutely right. I think having a stronger music union would be better for everyone, or like making sure that your lawyers dot the I's and cross the T's, and so does the other side, and yourself what you're getting into. I make sure that my musicians are happy, and like that they have an out if they want an out, which that's hard to do, but like I make sure that they know what they're signing into, and that they know what's going on. Like I always explain a contract before I have anyone sign it. So I think down to the core, yeah, music union. But at the same time, it's making sure the lawyers and on both ends like know what they're doing, and people don't go back on their word, because then, if they do, then there's a lawsuit, if there's something written in stone. Yeah, I hope I answered that correctly.
Yeah, you did. It was a very exact question, and you went right to the answer. I appreciate that. I don't know, have you ever had to actually go through, I don't know, there are actually movies about this, where
Yeah.
musicians have to pull knives and meet guys in the office in the alley just to get paid. Did you ever have to go through anything like that?
No, knock on wood that I don't, but I'm sure that's I'm sure there's always going to be one case. But not yet, not myself. I can't speak from experience.
Well, it sounds like you got your business thing together, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for calling me a soldier. That means a lot, really.
You're welcome.
No, it does. I take that to fully to heart. So thank you.
Very good.
Thank you so much, Michael, and hopefully you're okay over there in Chicago. Up next, we're gonna do Chris, followed by, once again, we have Anastasia. So Chris, then right back to Anastasia. So Chris, you're on board.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So first of all, thank you so much for this time. I'm so excited. I do kind of have like A-B portion of my question, so I hope that's okay. If not, Armand, just let me know and I can okay, cool.
Sure.
So nowadays the music industry, as you know, is this kind of different model now. Everything in the current day is a DIY style. I think of Arnie DeFranco when I think of the current state of the music industry. And with the current state being so DIY, how have the roles of a music manager changed, as far as, when you think of the new musician doing everything themselves, how can a manager, or what can a manager do for an artist who does a lot on their own? And then when you get an artist who's more along that DIY style of putting themselves out there, what then, if they sign with you or with a manager, would be the top 3 priorities for managing a new artist?
Right. I think it's going to vary for every manager, like the top 3 priorities. But you know the saying, 2 heads are better than 1, 3
Absolutely.
heads, all that stuff. And I definitely, kind of like parallel to your question, I definitely feel that way as like a manager who's starting out with a business partner. We totally have different strengths, and we are so compatible, and it works so well together. And I come with my contacts and she comes with her contacts. And coming back to your question, with artists, like, absolutely, I understand that, like, even now with like distribution, like an artist can just like upload their song and like, it being distributed on like all streaming platforms and that. However, like there's sometimes where, an artist can do it all. And I'm working with one who I've had to, say like, hey, I'm here, like, give me anything that you need. But she's been doing this for so long that, it took her a minute, to also us, like her checking me out and my partner, Erin, and for me to check her out and see the way that she works. And it took a while to kind of like, and patience, maybe patience can be one of the 3 that you were saying, to kind of like build that relationship. I brought her contacts that I had and that I gained from my experience as like, in agency world, in like, I guess just agency world right now. And that she never really had access to, you know what I mean? And I think you hire a manager will also like to organize your life a little bit, but also to kind of connect you with people that they normally didn't have the chance to, or hustle for you for the contacts that you want to make, because like, God knows that I've reached out to a few people who've connected me to like a few labels, and like people there that can, them making that intro gives me an in, which like an artist, has said like, oh my God, I've been working like 3 years to try to make this contact.
Right.
But like, I mean, I think like we all have different strengths, and kind of coming together and collaborating is like the way to go. Even though like you can do everything yourself, you're always gonna need a little help, So I definitely think that I would say working with an artist that's she or he is used to doing everything themselves, like just be patient. It's gonna take time. And I don't know the third. I don't know. Yeah, I hope I kind of like answered that in a long-winded way.
No, you totally did. I know it was a long question kind of put into one. I think the reason why I asked that is, as an artist myself, I'm very, I don't want to say old school in thinking, but I was one that was always looking for that team and wanting that, and so often being told by everyone, no, you got to do it yourself. You got to do it yourself. And I always feel like if you're too busy wearing all these hats, something's got to give, right? You can't really hone your craft if you're too busy trying to be the manager and the producer. And I'm not one that believes the artist should be doing everything. And now that they've kind of made you do, so you got to do everything. Now I'm just like, now you want us to not, so I'm kind of confused. So I wanted to know, I think what you guys are doing is refreshing, but I wanted to get your take on it to say, okay, is this where you think the industry is going back to that?
Oh, I honestly think that it's always going to be like a give and take of the two.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, in my opinion, like I'm very old school as well, but I also like teamwork. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm two mindsets like you. Like, I'm like, yes, like someone's not going to do it for me. I'm going to do it myself. Like,
Right.
I can't wait for you. You know, and I have those moments with my business partner, and I'm just like, I'm waiting on an email, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna freaking do it myself. You know, like I'm not gonna wait for you. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Right.
like, and but I'm very impatient. You know, but but at the same time, yeah, like I enjoy seeing an artist that's being very persistent in their career, and then it's like it makes me want to be persistent with them and offer the help of, you know, where they see fit. And that's why, you know, when I sit down with someone and we're having like a meeting, or, you know, just a get to know each other and see if it's a right way to, it's a right fit, I ask them, like, you know, what their short-term goals are, where they see themselves in a year, and like what's the long-term goals, you know, and actually like you know, use like chart metric to see like what their like analytics are, and you know what, because like that's also like, you know, even in agency world, that's what everyone's looking at, which is so
Okay.
sad to say, right?
Hmm.
But I think that it's just going to be a give and take of the two, at least for me, as well. And I see it kind of going in two directions always. We're doing it yourself and having that team effort always. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Thank you so much, Chris. We're gonna go back to Anastasia, followed by Medet.
Awesome. So Tal, I'm more from the film side. I'm a writer director. I've worked in film and television and done production. The music side, I love to work with and connect with, but I don't understand the business side as clearly as perhaps, you know, being an actor or writer director. So I'm curious, like, where things are at in the state of the business. Like, what is your strongest form of revenue stream, or how does it generally break down for you and your artist? Is it getting, you know, revenue from stream counts, from album sales, the old-fashioned way, live performance, selling merch? Like, I'm just curious as to like
Hmm.
what has changed in the business and where are things now financially?
Yeah. Great question. For me, you know, the money is always going to be for an artist, and it's sad to say a little bit about, you know, in the live touring aspect of it all. Um, of course, like, you know, there are sales that are going to come from like streaming, and like there are certain, you know, but at the same time, like the music has become like everything is just so accessible now, and we're like artists are sometimes getting paid to be on certain platforms, so that kind of cancels it out. And I think that you need to be creative, you know, for artists that are like just starting out, you know. So for me, like, of course, like, and now like the touring aspect is kind of cut out of it all. So, you know, sync and publishing deals are like kind of like a way for artists to kind of get their songs on, you know, TV and film, and, you know, try to get some royalties from that. Contacting music supervisors, and kind of, you know, reaching in that aspect as well to kind of get their music on those platforms as well. And but definitely, you know, like, um for me and my experiences was the live touring aspect. As you become more successful, like, I'm sure there's other ways, and obviously, like, you know, going into an agency and them doing like brand deals and partnerships, like you can have like so many ways like for you to be earning like a big chunk of money, you know what I mean? Like brand partnerships are everything. And you know, I like, even though my artists are very small, like I try to do that for them, you know, even if it's nothing for right now, but like we're starting to build those relationship with brands um and sponsors, you know, so that in one day that they do kind of make um that they become someone and they can, hone in on them, or we, get bigger deals. But it all depends. Like there's sometimes where, you get a publishing deal with an advance at a big, record label. That can also be, a big like payday for you. But mostly like, artists like live like from their touring days. I just gave you a lot of examples and then like answered the question. Erman, I feel like we need to work on my speaking skills sometimes.
Tal, I just like to hear you speak. I just like listen to your voice. It's okay.
That's good. I'm trying. But
Tal, what
yes.
would you say percentage wise is basically live touring compared to all those other streams you mentioned?
Like percentage of what? Of like how much?
Of like the income pie, like one artist or band or musician, relatively, you would say what, maybe 90% is touring and the everything else, or is it less?
I see. I would say 80 to 90% is touring.
Okay.
But like, I have to also say that like, that's what I've seen in like the agency world and like talking about with everyone that like I know, and like it's like a combined mix of agents and managers. However, I'm no expert. I think like, there's a lot of people with different opinions and that would probably like shut me down, so I'm also like, humbling myself and being like, I still don't know everything, and that's just what I've come to see. However, I haven't dealt with Chance the Rapper, and I haven't dealt with Post Malone and, all the big shots. So fuck knows, they might be making money like elsewhere. But I know that, from being in the agency world, like, well, a lot of their money is coming from there. A lot, especially with the big timers. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. And don't worry, Tal. That's a brilliant answer. You didn't talk too much. I promise you. We're gonna do Medat, then Justine, then Diane. So we're gonna do Medat, Justine, then Diane.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Hello. I saw that you currently manage 5 artists on your website. And I was wondering, if somebody's not signed with you, are you open to, can somebody hire you basically for consultation, and advice? Basically, can we hire you for a certain amount of time to get your advice and opinions?
Yeah, absolutely. I do consultation. We probably should add that to the website. But I'm always happy, to hop in a call with someone and schedule something, and to give my time and to just see if I can help in any way, with any artist or company or whatever you guys need that it seems like a good fit.
What would be the best way to contact you?
Erman, do you want me to send you my email for my management company, and then you can pass it off?
For sure, that's not a problem.
Okay, cool. Medat, I'll give Erman my email, and then we'll go from there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Great. Of course.
I think I have your. I think I have a personal one. I don't have your.
You have my personal one.
So yeah, please
only
send it
you
over.
though. Only you.
Let's go ahead and do. I think I said Justine, then Diane. So Justine, you're on.
Hi, nice to meet you. Sorry,
nice to meet you.
Problem.
No, you look great.
Update. So I missed bits and pieces here, but I'm a songwriter, and I've been in LA for like a year and a half, 2 years, and I'm working a lot, and trying to get into more rooms with an artist, or trying to break in that way and make more personal connections.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for that, or?
And you just want to build relationships with other artists, correct?
With artists, yeah, producers, songwriters. I mean, I do on my own too, but just like trying to expand and get more out there.
Yeah, absolutely. One, and Erman, this is not a promotion for you, but I solely do believe in this. Like, Erman throws a lot of events usually when things are normal. And I've met some really interesting people at all of his events, artists. I would obviously, if you want to stick to music, I would, wait for a music event to come in. And there's a lot of artists and songwriters and producers. Actually, funnily enough, Erman, and I don't think you know this, but like I actually got one of my artists from your event. I took him on. So there's
Who was
always
it?
like it was Hugh McDonald, Fair Hazel.
Okay, that's dope.
So
I had no
he
idea.
came. Yeah. Well, I mean, you weren't there. You were obviously at a funeral. Sad. But Justine, going back to you, I would recommend, that's going to events. Erman's events are always great to meet other artists. Go to Once to Watch in Live Nation.
Okay.
They do it's basically just like a music gathering that they do like once a month, and it's about they feature artists that are like up and coming, and it's at the Live Nation office in West Hollywood, or Beverly Hills, sorry. And they do like, and lots of people like musicians and writers, and UTA is just like right there, so a lot of agents go there, so that's a great way to meet people. There's also, I think there's a hub on Facebook, right? Erman, do you know?
The pop music one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on that, yeah.
Is it not really that helpful? I've heard that it's like a give and take.
Well, no, it is helpful, but there's just like so many people on there that it's just, like it's a good community.
Right.
Just a lot,
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and the more, the more that you go to these, it's weird. Like the more, like, this is how, for me, how it happened was like, I started going to like, I started at Erman's events, like when Erman and I started like, meeting for the first time. And then I started like finding online like all these music events that I wanted to be a part of, or I was trying to also get into like the acting events as well. And then you meet someone, and you meet someone who seems like a little bit they're legit, and then they tell you about another one, and you like, start hanging out, and then it's kind of like a process that, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's definitely capable. I would definitely start with Live Nation and going to the Once to Watch. You're going to meet a lot of people there who are there for, you follow Instagram and then you see that they're in another music event. Go to live shows. That's great. I don't know how natural it comes to you to start talking to people, but just, say hey. Maybe that can lead to something as well. And like, sometimes conferences are kind of expensive, but they're worth a shot. Like Muse Expo, I was going to go to that, and you just meet a shit ton of people there as well. It's funny, but like there's just like no real hub that I would say. It's just like a lot of like scattered events, and it's kind of like the grapevine of like, gradually building your network and meeting people. It's not easy, but it's very much doable. You're speaking for someone with experience coming to LA and like doing that. But yeah, so I think those, Erman and Live Nation. It's really sad to say. If anyone has like, answers on like the chat, please feel free to chime in and being like, maybe I probably missed like 10. But I just don't know a lot of legit ones, like sometimes I go to ones and I'm like, I shouldn't be here. So, yeah.
So my other question was, do you just do, I think I missed the part because my computer was being funny, but like, do you do like just contracts with like artists and represent them and manage them, or do you do like one-off situations too, where like I may not have all the time to like put into your situation full time, but I can see a brand that might work for you, so maybe we can connect this and do like a percentage or some kind of deal in that way?
I mean, I'm very much creative in the sense of like, there's always like, I'm right now, strictly like just because this is like very new with very new that the company has only been like 4 months open, that all my deals with my clients are like a year contract. However, you know, like I am, you know, gradually being approached about, you know, maybe consulting, you know, as Meta said, and like a few of my friends have like introduced me via email. And I'm always here to, you know, if someone wants like a sponsorship or a brand deal and we can come to some sort of percentage in that, if we get it, I'm open to that as well. As long as like if it means like making someone else happy, I'm all on board, honestly. Like I think like I just like came to this earth just to like make people smile. So sure, maybe it's my weird talks like right now, or maybe it's just collaboration. I don't know. Yeah.
I'd like to reach out to you also as well. I'll get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Erman, email, you go for it, you know.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks.
so
No, of
much,
course.
Justine. Thank you so much. Tal, you can't cuss on my webinars, girl. I'm kidding. I don't care.
Oh my god.
No, I'm kidding. No, it doesn't matter.
You know, it's funny. It's like word vomit. Like I don't even know
It's all
that
good. It's all good. No worries.
saying it.
We're gonna do Diane, then back to Chris K. So Diane, you're up.
Hi.
Hi, Dan.
Hi. Hello. Where did my question go? It was just about being a writer and having, you know, some side poems, or, you know, could possibly be turned into lyrics. Was wondering if you would have any advice on where, you know, somebody with lyrics could hook up with somebody who needs lyrics and writes music.
Yeah, I mean,
and make a hit song.
that's always the goal, isn't it? Do I have any ideas? I mean, I don't really know what your network is like. So, I mean, do you have any friends that are artists, like singers or maybe like music producers? I would start there, you know, seeing if you'd be like, I have this like awesome poem, maybe can you just sing to it, you know, and maybe a melody comes to life and maybe you record it on your phone and then you go to, you know, oh my god, what is the fucking thing called?
It's okay.
Sorry, Erman. A studio. There we go. And maybe hire a music producer to kind of like bring it to life. Like that would be my kind of thought process, you know, with starting. It's easier said than done. But you know, I would hone in on like the friends that you have, if you do, that are musicians, and like, you know, put your lyrics forward and be like, I have this like great song, like do you think that, or poem, like can we make something out of it? Like do you think that, you know, you have someone that would, you know, bring it to life, or, you know, create a tune, and can we record it? And do I have a specific site? Not really. No.
That's okay.
I think,
no, I agree.
I don't even know. I think someone should, Erman, make a site, like please, like where we can all like connect online or something like that, you know?
I think I will. I think I will. But hey,
Yeah.
Diane, on that same note, I don't mind sending a message out to the meetup group to let them know, hey, we have someone here who wants to turn. I think I heard poetry a second ago. So you want to turn your poetry or your lyrics into, want to turn them into songs, right? Yeah. So I don't mind sending it out to the meetup group and asking people, hey, are you interested in taking on a new writer in music? So yeah, I'm happy to do that for you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah,
Awesome.
sure.
Very nice. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Sure, absolutely. I'm interested in seeing it myself. I want to see your poetry.
I
I'll
know.
send it to
Sounds
you.
great.
Sure.
I'm a poet. I read poetry myself.
No, I'd love to. I'd love to have somebody read it.
Awesome, amazing.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Chris. I believe Chris had another question.
I did have another question. I want to be fair. I don't know if you saw my my message to you though, just now, I want to be fair. Was Justine before me? I just want to be fair.
Oh, Justine just went.
Okay, cool. Never mind. Sorry. Just wanted to be fair. So, Tal, I had a question. My other question was, so in your opinion, as far as today's industry, I don't know why I do the air quotes, but
It's okay.
as far as the industry, no, what should be in an artist's EPK now? What do you think? Like, what is the EPK? What should it be consist of, in your opinion? What's like, if it came across your computer, if it got in your inbox, like, what is your, like, oh, this is it. This is the one.
I like short and sweet.
Okay.
So it's mostly like, an updated bio, picture, maybe like a few, like one picture of you so I can see you clearly, or maybe you're in action on stage, like that's fine with me. And then kind of just links to your socials and music, like if you had like a hit song, maybe put that on there. Or if you didn't and you released your, like the newest stuff that you've released, great. Or if it's unreleased, even better. But just mark that as unreleased. And then, obviously putting in like the views and like how many like listeners, you've had on the song, if it's like a big number. And also on your socials, like if it's a big number, like as well, like put like 2.9 million. Like I know it sounds like really cheesy and like but basically like just show off.
Like videos?
Yeah, music videos would be great. Like music videos are great always, just to see you in action. But one page, clean, like links to videos and music and your socials, and like that's it, and your bio and a picture, and like send it off, like have all the stuff that you've done like on, like just speak for themselves, so your links to your socials and all that jazz. But that's me. I like clean stuff, but also, show off in the sense of just like put as much details of just like, yeah, that's right, I have like 13k followers, like I don't even have that. Like, I don't even care to have that. But yeah, show off in the sense of just like, what's the stuff that you would want someone to hear, rather than sending me to like a blank page on YouTube and me figuring out which one is the best. Like, show me what I should see.
Can I follow up with a B portion or no?
Yes.
Portion to that question? Okay. Thank you, guys. So if the artist, okay, I'm not gonna even do that. So for me, I also, with being a singer and songwriter, I also am a published author. I do other things, act and all that stuff. Would that be something that you would want included? Would you want to know all that stuff about me, or would you want that to be totally separate? So separate the businesses. You would just want the music side.
For me, like if it's an EPK, then I would, that's separate. Music.
Yeah.
Resume is your actor's resume, that's something separate as well. So it needs to be like two different things. And then in the email, in the body of the email, if you're reaching out to someone, I would just say like, hey, I attached both of these files because like I just don't want you to see me as like a musician, but I'm also an actress and I've done this, I have this credits to my name. And so definitely keep that separate. And when speaking on the phone with someone, or in the email, like explain, it doesn't have to be like a 2-paragraph thing, but be like, yo, I do everything, and here are my credits and this is what I wanted to show you. So
okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Chris. Does anyone else have questions? Do any of the shy ones on here want to ask Tal a question?
I feel like I saw something about a musical theater.
There we go. We're gonna do Michael. Then actually, let's go ahead. Anastasia, I can just ask the question for you if you don't mind. Yeah. So So Anastasia, I just want to know if you represent musical, or how you have an interest in representing musical talent as well. I'm sorry, musical theater talent.
I feel like that mostly falls for me in the actor side of things. So definitely like, I have an agent who specializes in, booking clients and artists on musical theater projects and shows. If it's, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's like an album that's only musical theater, or if it's, do you know what I mean, Armand? Do you understand?
I'll chime in real quick. The reason I asked that question is I'm a writer director and I'm writing a musical. So I was
nice.
just curious. Yeah, I didn't, like I said, I'm used to being more on the TV and film side and being a writer director. That's my frame of reference. But this segues me into the musical side. I didn't know if you worked with those types of artists or if you had any thoughts on folks who do that, or cross collaborations even.
Yeah. For me, that's more of the acting role. A good friend of mine, she's not only like a theatrical agent, but she's also a musical theater agent, and she books for that. So that's definitely like her territory. And then if something comes along my way, and obviously like getting a script that's fantastic and getting a firsthand to read it, that's the goal for any agent, you know, and or manager, you know, and getting, you know, it to sit in a studio and kind of get someone to fund it, that is epic. But yeah, I mean, like, but in the sense of like me working with musical theater clients, like, no, I would, you know, as a manager, I would probably work with like you, and then get a team around it involved in order to kind of come into fruition, you know, and then hire my, or like go to my friend who's a musical theater agent and be like, hey, like I have this amazing script, like let's book some of your people on it, you know. So that's the way. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. I think Michael had another question. So Michael, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So it seemed like you left a comfortable job that a lot of actors would kill for. You were actually um, uh, directing and assigning actors to commercials. I mean, that's like you get a job in a commercial. You're emailing every relative you have and a few people you don't know, and you gave that up to come into this world of staging live music. Is that your zing? Is there something about that where I booked them, they appeared, the show was fantastic, everybody got paid? Is that your zone? Is that what blows you away? Because from my musical experience, that seems like a rough way to make a living.
I think I have a lot. No, I know. I like, you know, I'm thinking about myself, and, you know, I think we've all like in this process, like been reflecting on, whilst we're all in isolation, I think we've all been like reflecting on ourselves and what we want. And I was very unhappy. I was super unhappy solely doing commercials, and I was super unhappy solely booking shows. And I think what makes me the happiest is working with an artist in different parts of their life and making their vision come to life, and like putting the pieces together. That doesn't bore me. That's like my dream. That's what makes me the happiest person in life. I love putting productions together. I love seeing all my hard work come, even if it's just for a night, come to life. Oh, I love that. Like I don't know, I feel fulfilled even if it's for $1. Like, and even if I don't even get paid, I love it. Like I don't even know. There's just something about it that like I need to do this. Like and it's funny, like I was very unhappy for such a long time that I am so happy that finally all the the pieces of the puzzle in my life came to life. And it's weird to say, but this time, you know, in isolation, and for me to focus on my business, like it's been the best time. You know, like it's horrible what's happening in the world, but like, you know, you start reflecting on what's most important.
Okay.
And for me, that's this, and your craziness of like, you know, that putting all that to life.
Well, that's very encouraging. You're kind of validating me in two respects. One, I've been a teacher all my life, and I started to get the certification to be a principal, and then came to my senses
Wow.
and said, nope, 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 nope. I'll screw that up just like trying to be a second lieutenant. But the other one is I've been a cable access producer since 1988, since it came to Chicago, and I have not made a nickel's worth of profit on it. And I have over 1,000 hours of directing time, and boy, do I love it. And so you kind of validating me there. So thank you for that.
No, of course, you're
It's good to
welcome.
have a day job too.
It is. It's great. It's great. And I did leave a stable job, but honestly, what are we in this life if we don't need to be a little crazy sometimes, you
Yeah,
know?
okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Does anyone else have a question for Tal? Tal, before we go, Chris, you want to ask another question?
Yes, I wanted to talk about, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. About the difference in social media. I know social media, we talked like poquito about just strategizing with social media plays huge with musicians nowadays. What do you think is the best social media platform for artists? Is it the TikTok? I'm so not there yet, but I'm sure I'll get there. Is it IG? Is it the Facebook? Is it the Snapchat? I mean,
Right.
what do you feel? You know, I probably need a Pinterest meeting. I need to be on my Pinterest Anonymous because I don't know. What is the best social media strategy? What is the best place for us, do you think? Should we be subscribing to all of them, which really I would drive myself nuts. I can't keep up with all of them. But what do you feel is the best way for us to go?
I would stick to the two, which is IG and TikTok. TikTok has been like a craze. Honestly, like songs that have been there for like 2 years or whatnot, you know, are just now starting to get well known. You know what I mean? And like, it's crazy. Like, I know people that are paying, you know, TikTokers that are like verified to, you know, dance and make a dance to their songs. And then they kind of like, you know, they get like followings on their Instagram, and then listens on their songs, and like therefore like, you know, the distribution or the record labels get like recognized. Like it's a whole like, you know, chain reaction of, you know, what could be to just like one song. I think, you know, definitely like I definitely think that TikTok is the way to go. We're working on a song now, and we're like gonna pay like probably like 2 TikTokers just to kind of make something to it, in hopes that like, yeah. And I know a lot of people that have been doing that as well. But you can see a lot of things that are just trending, you know, and the thing that's great is just like, you know, like what hit about it is like the first time like that you can put, you know, music on a platform and dance to it, and Vine wasn't really like that. So I definitely think like subscribe to the two.
Okay.
It's you know, it is work, but like not really. Like, you know, take it one day at a time, like be patient with it. And followers will come, and like it's you being proactive as well, you know. I was talking to a friend of mine who deals with social media, and she was just like, you know, be on social media for like 30 minutes a day, you know, and do steps proactively, you know, to see who your fan base are, and or your followers, and like see who comments on your story, see who you know, are the people that are viewing your stories and posts. And if you don't know them, follow them, DM them, you know, make it an effort to kind of like give them the same attention that they give you. And therefore, you know, you'll have you'll let your following grow, and, you know, try and post, you know, and yeah, I don't know, and speak to your public, even if you're just speaking to yourself, like speak to others, you know, fuck it. But yeah, I don't know. I always get so weird about it. I like never talk to the Instagram, you know, like I never talk to the gram.
I guess
Like,
the
never.
question is, so one thing I was told, and this could be totally wrong, so please tell me, no, throw that out the window.
Yeah.
Like, that's totally not right. So one thing I was told is like, okay, so there's a thin line between putting yourself out there and like putting too much of yourself out there. Like, for instance, like if you are like a singer, people want to hear your music, but they may not want to know about your grandma, your auntie, your aunts and your uncles and your cousins and them, and then your little dog and your fish, and you get what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, like y'all know I talk about my two kids, right? There's Kendall and there's Noah, and they pretty much, they're like a little small gang that runs my house, and I'm probably a captive. And if I turn on my Instagram, you know, hubby is at work. So if I turn on my Instagram, start making videos, there's probably going to be like two little people running around in the background making noises and singing Frozen on top of my stuff. And so I wanted
But
to know, like,
people-
is that too much? Is that going to take away from,
Oh my
you know,
God,
I'm trying to do the Chris K show.
no.
Is that going to take away? And then all of a sudden, here we got reality
love-
TV. And that ain't what people was looking for. They're gonna be like, that's not what this is about.
The Chris K show, I actually love that. I think that's a great name.
Thanks.
But I mean, why don't you do that online? Chris K show. Look,
I don't know, I'm just talking here.
I know, but like talking, you know, like we do our best thinking when we're talking. I don't know, that's not a saying. But look, like you can't hide who you are. Like your kids are your life, and you need to show, you know, maybe you're inspiring other people that are in your situation, that are trying to make a career in acting and music, to kind of like, you're speaking to those. That's your fan base, you know, like people, each person has their own, you know, so maybe that's what you need to hone into. And like, you start like, and God knows how many stories I've heard about my friends that have kids right now that are stuck at home with them, and all they're doing is running around, like, you know, and like because they can't go outside. And start doing that. Like, why not? Like, don't hide that. That's you. Like, family is everything, and you like, that is part of you, and you can't live two different lives, like, you know. So I think that, you know, I definitely think that you should start the Chris K show. Fuck it, just start it like on Instagram, and just like do like 15 minutes a day, like, welcome to the Chris K show, and like literally just show your kids running around and like talk about shit. Talk about you.
So nice that you would say that, being an industry executive, because let me tell you something. It is hot underneath this wig trying to be cute for this Zoom meeting that Erman be doing, because I am
oh my
hot
God, look at
in this
me.
mama
I'm
dress with this windbreaker on top, trying to be real cool and chill because I'm from the Bay. You know, we trying to be swagged out, and I'm looking a mess.
No, it's fine.
I don't know the real.
I'm looking a mess too. I think that I am like, I'm literally, I don't even know. I think I just had one coffee today, and I'm like, but I think you can't fake it. You know, you can fake it till you make it, but you can't fake being you. Like, then, you know, if you reach it, you're like, fuck it, I just haven't been myself. And yeah, and like, honestly, I'm waiting, like, follow me on Instagram, like, but like, on like, you if anyone's listening, you can follow me at Taller Mgmt or Tal Weinstein. And I'm like expecting to see the Chris K show, because like, I think that's great. I think that's a brilliant idea. And you know, like, it's like, it's you. It's like, it's you, and it's a start. And like we were saying before, like, you know, no one's here doing it for you. You need to do some of it yourself, you know, until someone comes along and helps you get there, you know. And why not start different things, and like, it fails? Like, why do you think I started this business? Like, fuck it, it's gonna fail, but like, I know that like, I needed to do this once in my life, or else I was gonna regret it, you know. I took a chance, I took a leap, and like, I think you need to take 100% chance on yourself. I think you're doubting from the questions that you've asked me, and I'm sorry if it's turning into like a therapy session right now.
No, it's cool.
But like, I think that you're doubting yourself, you know. Like, you totally just like believe in what you're doing. Whatever looks good to you, until someone comes along and tells you, hey, I would do it a different way. But no one should change you, you know. No one should be like, don't show your kids on Instagram, or don't be too much. Be who the fuck you want to be. Like, don't
appreciate
let
that.
anyone tell you. Yeah, but it's true. And I totally, you know, like from women coming up in this industry right now, you know, we need to have like a life, and we have kids. So what?
Yeah.
So what? That should not change, you know, for you propelling in your career, and you should hone in on that. Absolutely.
I really needed to hear that today.
Chris
So
K show,
thanks.
everyone. Chris K.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that. I needed to hear
Yeah,
that. I
of course.
appreciate that.
Tal, are you on TikTok?
No.
No. People
My
tell me,
artists are,
people,
and I'm like, no.
people keep telling me to make one, so I might make one. But
Why not?
maybe I will. Would anyone else like to ask a question to Tal? No. Okay, no worries. So, Tal, before we go, do you have some parting words for our audience? Especially with like artists right now who are quarantined, instead of wasting time just laying around or binge watching stuff, like what should they be doing right now to prepare for when the world is back to normal?
I would say, first of all, I hope that you all stay safe and healthy. I didn't say that in the beginning, so my, you know, regards to you and your family, and I hope that everyone is good. And just, you know, try to stay at home as much as possible. And two, you know, even though it might feel like hard sometimes, you know, to get out of bed and start doing work, lay in bed, whip out your computer and like start like sending emails, you know, but don't give up in this time that you feel like nothing is going on, because a lot is going on. A lot of people are looking to collaborate now more than ever. A lot of people are, you know, reaching out and wanting to find new connections, and like, you know, this is a time where everyone is super vulnerable, and like the industries, everyone doesn't know what's going on, so people are wanting to find and be together with others in the industry that are in the same boat as them. So don't feel like you're alone in this. You know, we're all in this together, and we're all feeling kind of like the unknown. And be proactive. People are still working. Agencies are still working. Publishing companies are still working. You know, promoters are still working. They're just like, you know, maybe they'll book you in for like a September show. Yes, tours are being rescheduled, but like people are rescheduling for 2021 or even September. So things are still happening. They're just, you know, being moved. And I think that, you know, we need to remember that like the world has not ended and the world isn't stopping. And we're all still, you know, being proactive and trying to think ahead of like once this is over. And at the same time, you know, staying healthy and sane and thinking about what's the most important to us right now. And that's family, and that's, you know, connections, and, you know, being together and kind of keeping hope, not only for like ourselves, but for the others that are, you know, even more struggling. And that's it. Yeah.
Those are beautiful
Thank
words,
you.
Tal. Yeah, those are
Thank
beautiful
you.
words. Thank
And
you so
thank
much.
you for having me on this. I always appreciate it, Armand. You
Of
know that.
course. Of course. Anything I want from Tal, she'll give to me. Professionally. So I should have said it that way. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Thanks
I know
for
what you
always being
mean.
on our events. I appreciate you so
Of
much.
course.
Till next
I
time,
believe
folks.
in you.
We have
Till
many
next time.
more of these Zoom sessions coming up in the next month, so stick around for more of those. I love seeing old faces and new faces alike, so this is amazing. Like I said in the beginning, just because this is going on in the world and we're separate doesn't mean we should stop celebrating each other, helping each other, supporting each other, and continue to network. So until next time, folks, thank you so much for being here tonight. Have a great night.